Hey, guys. I'm super excited to be here with you today because we're doing a case study on one of my awesome clients. Her name is Janelle, and she's going to really tell you about, she just basically exploded within the last couple of weeks. So we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to let her tell you in her own words what she does, the kind of results that she's been able to accomplish in a very short amount of time. And then we'll just keep this like a casual conversation so you understand her journey from where she was to where she is now. All right. So Janelle, I'm super excited to be here with you. How are you?
Oh my gosh, I love you so much. I think you're so fantastic.
I love that because I adore you. Okay, so why don't you tell us exactly what you do?
Well, it's what I do when I work with people is I go into their total life. So we deal with health issues, body issues, all of that. And I shift basically through my vision and through my hearing. I shift their lives into what is possible for them and create miracles to happen.
That's amazing. So why don't you tell us where you were, like what wasn't working when you decided to hire me?
Well, let's start with the big one. The big one was I wasn't really standing in my power. Mm-hmm. I was still operating in being unseen. And I wasn't really honoring what I was worth.
Yeah. How did that feel?
I felt really small. It felt, I just felt chaotic inside.
Yeah.
And it reflected in my external world all over the place, from how I was parenting my kids to interaction with my husband, all over the board. Yeah. So it really honestly showed up in a lot of different ways, but I feel like one of the biggest things was not giving myself permission to be fully who I am. Yeah. Because a lot of my experience was that it was too much for people. Yeah. And I was dismissed a lot. Mm-hmm. Since I've been working with people since I was 21, that was my whole experience around a lot of really well-known people.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So where were you, like, what was the thing that happened that made you decide enough is enough? I want to change this.
Well, you had done, it was like a post, and then I think you did led up to your webinar. Mm-hmm. And at that moment when I was reading it, I was like, oh, she gets me. Mm-hmm. And I really wanted someone that was going to go toe to toe with me, that was going to call me on my stuff. Mm-hmm. And really help me move it, because I was internally, I knew I was ready. I just didn't know how to get there, and I needed the how to. Mm-hmm. And the whole money issue kept coming up for me, just over and over again. And I was really, for me in spirituality, money, we're friends. It's not like a repellent for me. I enjoy money. I don't think that we're meant to just sacrifice and just, be destitute and give everything away. Yes, I think we need to contribute, but what was happening for me was that I wasn't receiving my own value in the world. And it was leaving me feeling worthless and like I was incapable. And I was like, no, I'm very qualified. It was a confusing signal that I was sending out to the world.
Yeah. You're amazingly qualified. Let's just get that straight. I mean, when we had our first conversation, I was like, I love this woman, right? And I love to work with clients like that because I really care about you and your results, and not just the money, but also how it affects your entire life, right? Mm-hmm. So talk to us though. Let's talk about the money a little bit. Where were you, like, financially in your business? Like, what was your average, let's say, monthly income when we started working together?
Well, it's real easy for me because I just did my taxes for last year because we're always behind. But I literally did my taxes, and last year in 2016, my total profit was $1,800.
Wow.
1,800. Yeah, 1,800.
Do you know why that surprises me, right?
I know why it surprises me.
Okay.
I didn't tell you that, did I?
No. Wow. Okay. So let's talk about your financial results within the last 3 weeks, because we've only been working together for 3 weeks or so. So what have you brought in sales?
Well, in sales total, I think we're sitting at 50,000 for just 3 weeks.
That's amazing.
Yes.
That's
and over, great. I think we discussed it the other day. I think it was like 25 breakthrough sessions.
Yeah, that's right. That's like amazing. Where before you were averaging how many per month?
Oh, maybe 2 or 3 of those. And I would have maybe, let's say, 10 or 15 sessions a month.
Wow. Okay. So what do you think made the biggest difference? Like maybe what in our sessions or in our work together do you think made the biggest difference for you to go? I mean, that's a huge jump, right?
Yeah.
In a short amount of time. What do you think made the difference for you?
For me, it was the ability to be vulnerable with you and allow you to help me move through those really core foundation issues as to why I wasn't bringing in income. Yeah. Because it wasn't like I didn't want to. There was no resistance there. It was, okay, so the want is there, the desire was there, but what is the core thing that was blocking me from standing in that? What's transpired through those conversations and you helping me walk through, okay, this is coming up. Why is that particular issue coming up? Well, one of the things that we discussed was that early on in my career, I was seeking validation and confirmation about this beautiful world that I can see. And I was basically dismissed. And so I was carrying that with me. And so that was going into everything that I was doing, including receiving, clients and, standing in the place of money. I had early on, and I don't know if I think we discussed this early on in my career when I was like 19, I used to work for people in trade for food.
Wow. Okay.
So, the quality of my work is not the issue.
Right.
It was receiving.
Right.
That was the issue.
Right. Because that's why I was surprised at how much you made last year. I was like, you're brilliant at what you do. And your clients love you, right? So for you to be bringing in that little bit of cash, it's alarming because obviously you need to be making an income to stay in business, right. But you also should be for what you give, you should also be able to receive at that level, if not higher than that, right? So I am so proud of you, so excited for you and in what's transpired with you financially. What else has shifted for you since we've worked together, maybe in other areas of your life?
Well, my husband has, because before he would have this constant complaint, well, I believe in what you do, but, I'm carrying the weight of everything, and I initially helped him create his business. So this was like me stepping into, what I needed to do.
Yes.
He's always my case study, meaning if I could do it with him, then I can basically do it with anyone. He's the guy's guy, drink beer on Saturday kind of dude, he said, I'm very grateful for you helping build my business, but you're not having success in your own. So it's either you're going to have to get a regular job or you're just going to have to quit doing what you're doing. It's just not working. And I was so disheartened because I know that the work is so powerful that I do. And I was like, man, I couldn't see not giving that to the world. Yeah. My heart was breaking. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do something. We're going to do something. And I prayed and I asked, and through my conversation with you around, where money had been showing up incorrectly or where I was struggling with money and concepts around money. And even just recently around, I got sick right as I was doing a big promotion, and it was the thing around, well, I always get sick around bigger projects that I'm doing. Why was that? Well, it was because I was pushing my body and expecting my body just to serve at this huge rate, but not listening to what it needed.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's some of the other ways that have shown up as a result of working with you.
Right. Just being aware of that. Right. And then giving yourself that time to kind of breathe and collect yourself, because you didn't do a ton of marketing to hit you 50,000, right? Within the last 3 weeks. I think it was like the actual numbers, like 49,050 or $500, right? So 50. But you didn't do a ton of marketing to get those results.
No. Through our conversation together, what happened was, when you would ask me a question about who my person was that I was seeing at that moment, or who I needed to speak to, you were asking the right questions for me to get those answers out. Mm-hmm. Because the concept was so global for me, it was difficult for me to articulate down to that level. Mm-hmm. And so that's one of your gifts for people, is to, I think, help them get really clear about who they're speaking to. Yeah. Which I think is part of, as spiritual healers and things like that, I think it's, or women who are trying to empower other women, I think it's difficult to articulate that sometimes if you're in that, what I call, world of not being clear, and once you asked me those questions, it got really clear for me what I was doing on particular moments, which led to posts, and I do, live videos that compelled my people to be attracted to what I was saying.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so what do you feel is possible for you now?
Oh my goodness. My husband and I were just talking about that last night. I'm really at the point where there's no limit, but I'm really feeling like this year it could push probably into 250 finishing out the year.
I think you can do better than that.
I'm going to go with you. I always go with you.
I just have a sense. Because, even look at what we've done in the time, not just 1,000, but you made a massive leap in terms of your pricing, right?
Yeah.
We tripled your pricing, I believe?
Well, let me give you a whole spectrum of that. So when I initially started doing one-on-ones, I was at $170 for 30 minutes. Okay. $170 for 30 minutes. The hour was $325. And so it's moved into groups, which I knew I already needed to do, because one session with me is great. But my whole goal and intention was to not just deliver information to people, because that's great. I can tell you you're going to drive a yellow car tomorrow or get your job. But in a sense, how is that helping you in your life? And I really wanted to help people in their life change these things, because after all, when they're coming to see someone like me who can see and hear, they want a solution. Mm-hmm. And that's not done in one session. Mm-hmm. That's done in groups, and that's done in a period of time. Right. And I really wanted the people that really wanted to work and create change in their life.
That's awesome. So what do you feel, or was there anything that almost prevented you from not signing up with me? Like you knew that you needed change, but was there something that would have gotten in your way?
Yeah, because I had hired a marketer. Mm-hmm. I'd hired a PR person. I'd hired, let me just go through the gamut. All of these, and they're wonderful people. I'd hired a VA to help me with marketing, XYZ. I literally went through 5 different things before you and I connected. Mm-hmm. And every single person would promise me something and then not deliver. Mm-hmm. And I was very, scared to jump in and do that. 2, again, and 2, because I had already been taken advantage of, and so my question around that to you in the beginning was like, why did this occur? Why does this keep occurring? Because I would ask them, like, I'm smart enough to know, like, I'm going to ask, like, why did you make that decision? Why are you showing me this thing? Because I know they're capable of so much more.
Right.
And I would not get any answer. So when I asked you that question, and in our initial process, when I hired you, that was one of the things that we talked about. And I got it in that moment. I was like, oh, it's because I'm not standing in me. They're reflecting to me inconsistency.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I remember that moment in our conversation, because yeah, it was what I knew that you needed to see for yourself. Mm-hmm. And that it's just brilliant that you saw it and you were able to then transcend it. So let's see. If you could think of a phrase, or I don't know, 3 top words that you would use to describe what it's like working together, what would those be?
That's interesting, because the first thing that came to my mind was
was what?
The first thing that came to my mind was this statement: a beautiful expression of kick-ass and delivery that propels you forward through resistance and fear in order for you to stand in your truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. All right. Are there any final words? Like if anyone's maybe on the fence of, investing in themselves or taking that next step, getting the support that they need, is there anything that you would say to them?
Yeah, I would say definitely the catch always, I think, is the fear. The fear around committing to the money piece, because I think that's what people feel the most tied to, but they don't understand that the money represents those fears that you've been hanging on to. Mm-hmm. And once you jump in and trust the universe is going to send you what you've committed to, it will.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So, I adore you. I can't wait to continue our work together. And I just have this sense that really big things are, obviously they're already happening for you, but more is to come. So, tell us about your book, by the way.
Oh, yeah. So the book is Spiritual Happy Hour, A Double Shot of Bad, which is being, allowing, and doing. And Michael Beckwith endorsed it. Sonia Choquette endorsed it. Karen Garvey endorsed it. He literally had it in his hand and called me to tell me how amazing it was, which was a huge, huge moment for me. I adore him. He's fantastic. And it's a great book. It's literally 272 pages of jam-packed information dealing with fear, manifesting, relationships. I deal with receiving, sex and intimacy, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
Awesome. So how can people get a hold of you?
So I'm on Facebook as Janelle Hoyland. You can reach me all the time on there, Twitter, YouTube. It's Janelle Hoyland all day, every day.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Janelle, for being here. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right. Bye-bye.